It's the final weekend before Election Day, and both presidential campaigns will be out in force trying to get voters to the polls. The Rust Belt of America is especially critical this year. Winning Ohio and Pennsylvania would mean 38 electoral votes, and that alone could mean the difference between victory and defeat. David Brody and Jenna Browder talked to some of the volunteers as well as the voters who'll be choosing our next president.
We're Ohio Christian University students.
Near Columbus, Ohio, millennial evangelicals are on a push to educate voters and get them to the polls on Tuesday.
I do want to see other Christians get a vote just because it's like gives them power.
Each vote will be especially crucial in Ohio, with Trump and Clinton running neck and neck here. That's why the Faith and Freedom Coalition is knocking on tens of thousands of doors in this crucial area of the state. And a personal touch could be the push that some evangelical voters need to get to the ballot box.
More and more people want some sort of personal connection and credible persuasion.
Persuasion is cranking up on the Democrat side, too. Socialist hero and former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders came to Youngstown to rally the troops at the local university. Hillary Clinton knows she needs millennials to show up, but students here don't seem too motivated.
Trump's voters that are my age, they are a lot more enthusiastic than like the people that are going to be voting for Hillary.
There's no doubt that Donald Trump is going to have to win here in Ohio and many of those battleground states, but at some point he's going to have to penetrate the blue wall, Hillary Clinton's blue wall. That means many of those Democrat states, including one nearby. As a matter of fact, right next door in Pennsylvania, and that's where we find my CBN News colleague, Jenna Browder. Jenna.
Thanks, David. We are here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. This is a town that was once booming, but as industry moved out, so did the jobs. Both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are working overtime here, trying to win over blue-collar, working-class Americans.
This is probably the toughest election that, I've been voting since I was 18.
I'm not really with it. I don't know.
I'm registered as a Republican, but right now I'm still pretty undecided.
Here at the Heyday Diner, mixed feelings for the candidates.
Trump knows everything was going on. He's speaking the truth to us, but Hillary knows the house.
Ebony Carter seems to make up her mind on the spot.
I'm just going to go with Trump because I like the truth, and instead of this being anything withheld from me.
Yeah, most of it's pro-Trump, to be honest, and this is it's always been a heavily Democratic area.
Across town at the Press Bistro,
I'm not quite sure if I'm going to vote.
Rowena Claycomb says she's leaning more toward Clinton, but by no means a hardcore supporter. Donald Bonk is straight down the middle.
I think each of them have proposals that could be helpful to us.
His family owned a grocery store in the area for more than 40 years.
1940 was roughly our high point. We had about 60,000 people in the city. We had a Bethlehem steel mill when I was in high school. In 1979, we had 12,000 steel workers. We probably have about 1,500 now in various specialty mills.
And that's Trump's basic message: bring back jobs.
I want the America that I had when I grew up for my grandchildren.
And it's one truck drivers at this rest stop are buying.
Even though he's very, very wealthy, he seems like he's a blue-collar guy.
Quite frankly, this is going to be the biggest election since Reagan. I think you're going to see an absolute landslide.
With all of the Trump-pinned signs in the area, it looks good visually on the surface for the Republican ticket. But with Clinton's top-notch ground game, looks can be deceiving in blue-collar America, where this race could ultimately be decided. Jenna Browder, CBN News in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
It's been a crazy election year, hasn't it? And I know that many people are frustrated. They've been disappointed. Some are very sure of who they're voting for, and others still undecided. Here's the important thing. We live in a country where we have the freedom to vote. So voting is not just a privilege, it's really a responsibility. And I want to encourage you to vote. Go make your voice be heard. Well, both Trump and Clinton are campaigning again in Pennsylvania today after going to another key state yesterday. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Terry. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have been crisscrossing the country to reach as many of those key swing states as they can. One of the most important prizes, North Carolina, a state that neither is taken for granted. Ephraim Graham has that story.
Both presidential candidates are hitting the same battleground states, but with very different messages. In North Carolina Thursday, Republican Donald Trump pushed to rally his base.
You know, when I look at these great admirals and these great generals and these great Medal of Honor recipients behind me, to think of her being their boss? I don't think so.
Polls show Trump gaining ground in the state just days before the election. But the state also has a growing African-American population and a growing number of young college-educated voters. And Hillary Clinton aimed to urge both to get out and vote with some added star power. Rapper Jay-Z today and Bernie Sanders and singer Pharrell Williams Thursday.
This election is just too important. I couldn't sit on the sidelines and just be quiet.
But Clinton has been hurt by questions about the FBI investigations into the Clinton Foundation and her emails, with more revelations in recent days and possibly even more ahead. Clinton is not talking about those problems as she campaigns.
We are standing against the possibility of returning and normalizing discrimination. Take it seriously, my friends, because it truly is. It truly is at stake in this election.
And a new face on the campaign trail as Melania Trump made her first solo appearance for her husband, taking on the issue of cyberbullying.
It is never okay when a 12-year-old girl or boy is mocked, bullied, or attacked. It is terrible when that happens on the playground, and it is absolutely unacceptable when it's done by someone with no name hiding on the internet. We have to find a better way to talk to each other.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
Thanks, Ephraim. And you can follow our election reporting online by logging on to Twitter, Facebook, and the CBN News channel, where continuous updates and analysis begin at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have a special election update edition of the 700 Club Tuesday night at 11 Eastern on the ABC Freeform cable channel. You'll be able to see that online at cbnnews.com as well. Well, whoever the next president will be, he or she will face the problem of a huge national debt. It's projected to reach $20 trillion early next year. And over the next several years, it could climb much higher as interest rates start to rise again. That could mean Washington could try to cut government spending, or, Gordon, they could possibly try to raise taxes.
Well, it's wonderful what's going on in our nation today. The good news is the election is on Tuesday, and hopefully all the shouting will be over. But then we've got to face some very real problems. And regardless of the winner, when you look at a $20 trillion debt, you look at international terrorism, you look at the huge divisions in our country today, you wonder, can anyone, any human being, solve these problems? And I think the answer to that is no, they can't. We need to humble ourselves and pray that God would have mercy on America.